What the fuck, Ped? What was that? That was not what we rehearsed at all. Where did that come from?
That, my friends, is some quality footage off YouTube that I stole.
So, for those of you listening to the podcast, Mark has just put up, as part of our intro, for the first time in studio, a cutaway of me throwing up a ball up and down, which is horrific in and of itself. And then, what are you doing?
Well, I'm wearing a suit. I look quite respectable. So I'm not going to complain. So much better than you.
Where did you find that?
Your video came from something you obviously did with Auckland
City. Yep.
And it was something to do with like a goalkeeping, and you
We had hoped so, because that was my position.
No, but it was pretty cheesebally. Like I
Yeah,
had
it's
to I'd look
horrible.
for the cheesy ballers bit and then put it on there.
Often it's like they do the hero shot where you step forward and you have to cross the arms. I'm sure Blake, who's part of the Mark's Peer Sports family, he's done that a lot of times.
Yeah, but Hyde, you were tough work, man.
What is that?
Like you know what I found there's many Nick Hydes that play sport.
He played football pre-internet. That is the problem.
See, I understand that. You know, that's my social life too. Kept out of it.
So there's a Nick Hyde that plays football overseas at some college, and there's also Nick Hyde that plays rugby, and a Nick Hyde that discovered something crazy, which I couldn't be bothered going into because I was literally looking for footage of you, but I found it. You in a suit. So there you go, boys.
9 lives.
You won't find me wearing a football jersey, but you will find me in a suit talking charter schools. But there you go. Speaking of terrible outfits, Man U's.
Yeah.
released.
I mean, that was terrible to begin with, but is it the third kit? I think it's the third kit. It's horrible. So hopefully Mark will be able to put it up on the screen in a second. But for those of you, you've obviously seen it. It's a black and white kit, and it's got a bunch of stripes. None of them seem to meet. It is just ridiculous. And do you know what the thing that tops it all off, Hyde? There's shorts and socks to match.
It's like a prisoner outfit, isn't it? Like the old school.
Yeah, but it's like a prisoner outfit.
Routine.
It's like it's like 3 different prisoner outfits that have been put together to make one. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Were they copying Juventus and just got the lines wrong?
Do you reckon they've used 3 different Juventus kits?
The other thing I thought about when you look at
There
this is it's like World War II ships when they have like the patterns on them to stop the submarines getting them. They're all like painted up and gone the wrong way.
We have an insider here at the podcast that works at Adidas and has described this, Mark,
Yes.
as being disruptive.
Now, you know what? I don't mind it. Now, remember, I'm very much a fringe football fan, but this is the type of strip I would buy because that's the strip in 20 years' time where everyone, you know, the guys who collect the strips and have every single setting of it. This is the one that they ignore. This is the one they go, yuck, I'm not buying that.
Is this the Beige Brigade version of a Man United kit?
There you go, perfect. It's the Beige Brigade. It's the Warriors. What is it? The bush shirt look.
It's a zebra.
Which, might I add, was
it's a mutilated zebra.
That was the most popular strip that they've ever released. They sold out of that Warriors jumper.
Are you? I mean, I'm not across all things NRL, mate. I do watch the Warriors every so often and get on board the bandwagon. Absolute bandwagon fan here. That sold out.
That sold out. And it's hard to get your hands on a strip now, so they're worth a lot. So just FYI, if I was did you say Manchester
United?
United. If I'm a Man U fan, buy it. Be sick in the trash can, buy it, and then keep it because it's worth a lot.
Hey, kia ora everybody. Welcome into the Full 90 podcast. You've got Jacob Spoonley, Nick Hyde, and Mark Peard here. And we are coming to you live from the Mark Peard studio at Eden Park, which is wonderful. So we've been waiting. Lockdown 2.0 came in and it absolutely killed us, but we are finally in the studio. It is great to be in the room with you fellas. Mark, do you just want to take us on a quick tour de force of how this came to be?
Yes. So basically, Radio Sports shut down, and the idea was...
RIP.
Yep. The idea was, well, sport's different anyway. It's more about the entertainment. It's more about what we get out of it. And there's plenty of passionate sports fans out there. So the idea was to set up a studio somewhere central, and the great people at Eden Park. Nick was the CEO, is a great visionary man, and said, "Yep, set up and see where you can get to with it." So this is where we're at, and let's do some sport. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, Hyde, thoughts on the studio?
Well, I'm stoked with the studio, and the biggest thankful part of this studio for me is that the headlines, me butchering Swedish, Danish, Norwegian football clubs' names has now been taken
Yeah, go on.
out of the program, and I can now put these, for those of you who are watching the video here, will be able to see it scroll around, but for those of you listening, we will be able to hand this over to
He
Mark.
couldn't even pronounce Manchester United before, so I don't know how he's
That's
going to go
actually-
with all things Viking.
With Helen's Gore, yeah, we'll see how he goes.
You want me to give it a go?
Here we go.
Absolutely, go on.
Headlines. Headlines with
Radio
Mark Beard.
Sport coming back alive in the Full 90 podcast. Off we go, Mark. Can you give us the wrap of the Kiwis around the globe?
Okay, my apologies straight away for those if I pronounce your names wrong and your teams. Let's start with new signings this week. Callum McCowart moves from the Wellington Phoenix to FC Hinsenslagen.
How's Gore?
That one to join fellow Kiwi Elijah Just and Dalton Wilkins in the club in the second tier of the Danish football. Moving through to Major League Soccer, and Michael Boxall plays the full 90 in Minnesota's 4-0 win over the Real Salt Lake. Elliot Collier plays 69 minutes in Chicago's 2-1 loss to New England, and Winston Reed subs in on Kansas City's 2-1 loss to Houston, and Bill Tuiloma subs in Portland's 2-1 win at Seattle. To Europe and Holland,
This
let's
is good.
start with Michael Vold, plays the full 90 in the Almere City's incredible 6-4 league win over the excellent, I can't even read there. Ryan Thomas plays the full 90 in PSV's last 1-1 draw with Colin, and I'm starting to lose the rest of them as they go up. Sweden, Joel Stevenson scored in their 4-1 win.
Go on,
Kiwi
Joel.
woman, England, Rebecca Stott played in the full 90 in Brighton's 2-0 victory over Birmingham.
Ria Percival.
You can see them. They had a 1-1 draw. And West Ham's Erin Nola, well, she's done very well. Arsenal 6-1. You know what?
So she's a goalkeeper,
She was actually on the bench.
and she was on the bench.
and
I
they
think
got-
she
they
might
got-
be playing next
They got
time
hammered.
around.
They got hammered 6-1, so maybe.
Can we
she
just
played.
touch on Callum McCowart for a second there, Hyde? Because he's left and he's gone to join teammates Elijah Just and Dalton Wilkins. Sorry for the state of there. Actually, let's pause. Well done, Mark. That's a really good effort.
That was a terrible effort. And I've stitched myself up because the scroll on this is way too quick for me to try and get all those out
Yeah, you
there.
control that, so there's no one else to blame there. but
That's
yourself.
my own fault.
I'm
But those who are
feeling-
watching can actually read it themselves.
I'm feeling much better about myself, and I'm almost at the point where I thought maybe as you was reading that, and it was getting more and more difficult, that we should bring a guest in each week and see if they can keep up with this scroll.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's
Yeah.
a killer scroll.
Yeah. So
Well, our guest this week is Dan Morgan, who's currently playing in the ABSA Premiership in South Africa, joining the likes of Michael Boxall, Jeremy Brocky, and a Solomon Islander in the form of Mika Leah Alafa.
yeah, and you shouldn't forget that Michael Utting kind of
Started all three,
blazed that
yeah.
trail way back in the day.
Andre de Jong to add to the group. So it would be great to hear from him later on in the podcast. But yeah, we're coming to you live from the Mark Peard studio. It is wonderful here, and I'm just going to change my notes to make sure that we're getting the right thing. I suppose, Hyde, it's really good to be back in studio because we're not going to be over Zoom and we're not going to be stammering and stuttering to see who takes the next question forward, which is a nice thing, to be fair.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me was that we got some pretty big interviews early on in that days, talking to Ryan Thomas, but over a
What
phone.
was the pick of the worst, but the best person, but the worst interview?
Probably Ryan Thomas and Marco Rojas. So they're two big superstars of the game, both massive All Whites.
Yes.
And the awesome tales to pass on. Their professionalism, their stories to young Kiwis would have been gold. And there's you and me with a phone kind of hovering over a microphone.
Literally, for those on YouTube, holding a phone up like this height. Is that correct?
Yeah. It was I guess tough times at the beginning, and you know, we're very thankful for Mark bringing us on board. So it's great to be in here, and with the technology now, we'll be able to zoom in straight to South Africa with Morgs. And,
Absolutely.
get some great stories from him.
Well, I think that's probably a decent time to pass across to Dan Morgan, a person that has kind of been, not overlooked is the wrong word, but I think he uses the word, he's always been there. And I think there's a taken for granted element to Morgie in that regard. He's got a wonderful left foot. He's very athletic. He gets up and down that left flank. And we saw in that wonderful Auckland City side that had Ryan DeFries, Dan Morgan, Emi Tade, Callum McCowart, that went to the Club World Cup. I think it was back in 2017. Unfortunately, they didn't get beyond the first round, and they should have, because I think they absolutely destroyed the opposition but didn't score. But yeah, I think he deserves a chance.
Yeah, I think
Higher
it's
up the
more,
food chain.
more than that. I mean, I played with him. He broke into the Bayes first team when he was 16 and was absolutely... I was actually coming back from a meniscus, the typical meniscus tidy up on your knee, and usually I played centre back, and I was coming back to pre-season training, and so Willie said, just go out to kind of right back and take it easy. There's a young kid playing left wing. You should be all right. And it was bloody Morgs, and he was lightning quick back then. He was absolutely lightning, and he has a skill set and a nasty left foot. And within about 5 minutes, I was doing the traditional defender where you back a good 10 yards off and say, no one's going past me. Otherwise, you're running out. I'll stay so deep. And that season, he had he played quite a few games. The next year, as a 17-year-old in the league, I think he scored 31 goals. It was phenomenal, and single-handedly won matches. And as you say, from that early start going into a first team, 19 playing for Auckland City. Auckland City is the benchmark for our National League. And if at 19 you are starting and going to Club World Cups and playing, you've got some serious talent. And being a left footer, I do think he's been massively overlooked. I think the last all-white squad, I was surprised not to hear him named. He's playing top-level football in South Africa. He's not playing second or third tier in Scandinavia. He's playing top level. And I think he's showed his maturity, and he probably deserves a chance. So it'll be great to hear from him.
Yeah. Heidi, I enjoy that story, but can you explain me another story about the Bon Jovi story?
The T-shirt?
The T-shirt, because this is... I know we got a couple of things we need to get through. We need to get through the Dan Morgan interview.
Yes.
We need you to explain the Bon Jovi T-shirt, and obviously
you say Bon Jovi quite weird, by the way.
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi.
Is that how it's
That's quite Quebecois.
I think it's fine. I think he's just put
before my time.
When did Spooner get a French accent? I don't know.
Mark's got a French accent.
No, I'm joking. And you guys are also doing the very, very, very exciting thing that you're going to be drafting all-white squads.
It's fantasy football season. We've got the NFL kicking off on Friday. We've got the Premier League kicking off on the weekend. There's fantasy football galore.
Do me a favour right now.
Absolutely.
And I've got my phone out. I'm actually going through a fantasy football draft as we are going. Yes. So, and I need the boys to know that I am actually doing a draft at the moment. So, sorry, we're doing a podcast, right, lads?
Yeah, we're doing a podcast.
That's
and
why I cannot be doing my draft right now. So,
I thought my levels of narcissism had gotten through the roof with the cameras and everything going on. But Mark just occupied the pod.
I got to get the T-shirt sorted out. So basically, I guess it's my age. I freaking love glam 80s rock bands. It's my bangers. I'll have a few beers. When I went to Vegas, going to Fremont Street with the
for those that know Rototo, I'm going to jump in. For those that know Rototos, you would have seen Nick Hyde smashing Living on a Prayer at one point.
This is why social media wasn't around back in those days. It saved me greatly because I was that embarrassing guy in the middle of just giving it one. So
mate, that's why you're so hard to find on the internet anymore.
It's well
because all the photos are dark and bad clubs,
smudgy.
Mate.
Anyway, my 8-year-old daughter for Father's Day has purchased me this Bon Jovi T-shirt.
Bless. We say no more. We
say
no more.
Yeah. So I think my wife is horrified by the fact that I'm actually wearing this in public, but for my daughter, absolutely. But Spooners, I got to say, I mean, as much as you don't like my Bon Jovi, what the hell are you wearing? You got flowers. It's up there with the Man U shirt.
You better have got that as a Father's Day gift.
This is on brand, mate. This is 60% off from Scotch and Soda. So I
do love a good sale. I do love a good sale.
There we go. Absolutely. Not off brand. Do love a quirky sweatshirt. But Mark, we have a podcast.
We do.
Which you've just occupied.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about Dan Morgan and how he's doing wonderful things in South Africa. So I think it's probably an appropriate time to hear from the man himself and in particular about his tattoos.
Let's do it.
And we're here now with what we hope will be one of the bolters for the all-white squad as they gear up to play Belgium and Mexico in November, I think. Heidi, is that right? Or October?
I think October.
October's good. Then we'll go with October. Dan Morgan. Morgan, welcome into the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, team. I'm glad we could get the time difference sorted.
Absolutely, mate. Well, you're in Cape Town at the moment, so talk us through why you're there and the gap between seasons, because that sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so literally, I think we were off for, must have been upwards of 6 months, I think, while COVID decided to take over the world. We had 6 games left. After that, we went into like a football bubble in Joburg. All the teams were put in the city, put in separate hotels. I think there was about 2 or 3 teams per hotel. Played games every 3 days. Some of the teams had 8 or 9 games, like Sundowns and stuff like that, because of their CAF commitments and whatnot earlier in the year. So they were playing every 2 days and stuff like that. So once we got that out of the way, we found out that the league should be starting either the weekend of the 8th and 9th, I think it is, depending on if Bafana's playing, or the weekend of the 15th. So I've got a solid 8 days off and
so you're cramming in all the travel you can get in, mate. Is that what's going on?
Exactly. And pretty much they were like, "Oh, you're gonna go home?" I was like, "Yeah," and probably turn around and fly back again.
So are you on an 8-day
sort of-
bender, or do you have to stay super fit?
Yeah. Are you cramming pre-season into 4 days and you're doing like the 4-day bender?
Is the fridge behind you just totally stocked?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like where I live as well in Maritzburg, it's about 35 degrees on a winter's
Yeah, just
day.
pause there
So-
for a moment, Morgie, because people are going to have to Google exactly where Maritzburg is. It's not exactly a moment. So we'll wait, and then we'll go. Yeah, so Maritzburg, mate, how did you get there? Because you obviously left Auckland City and you've gone across to South Africa. Yeah, what is the genesis for moving into professional football in South Africa?
So I guess obviously Emiliano Tade came here. He was the most recent one closest to me. So my agents were his agents, and they're also Andre de Jong's agents as well. So obviously there was like a line before it with Foxy and Brock's coming here, and I guess you can say Bridie came here for a little bit. He likes to throw that one around.
Yeah, I'm sure he does,
so
mate. Throws that and a
put
number of
him
other things around. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put him in there as well before he gets angry. But Andre just signed for Amazulu, just as Emmy left for Sundowns. So once he was over there, Nick Nikolic, he actually knows my agents. One of them, I think, he played in South Africa at one point in his life. And one of my agents is Serbian, and you know how it goes with that sort of crowd. They'll get along straight away and become lifelong friends. So he put me in touch with them, and they kind of sent my video around, and Maritzburg picked it up. The coach there, Eric Tinkler, he's like been around the league for a long time. Played for Bafana, played in Europe, played in Portugal, that sort of stuff. And he said he liked the way I look, so I came over, and yeah, here we are now,
Rest is
a year and a
history.
half later.
Likes
Still
the way
hanging
you
around.
look. Is that a tattoo thing?
It must
Is
be.
that, is that,
Must
I
be a
see those
tattoo.
tattoos are creeping up. Can we talk tattoos?
Absolutely, mate.
What have you got?
It's probably easier to say what I haven't got, to be fair.
What's your best?
I've
What's
got
your
a bit-
best one? What's your favorite?
I don't know if I can show it on camera, to be fair. It's on my chest.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
Rip
get
it
it
off.
off.
Well, we've got the
Get the
photos.
L
mate.
out. Get the L out.
Rip it off. It's so not your favorite. It's just a chance to rip the shirt
Oh,
off.
it is impressive, mate. To be fair, while he's doing this, so you've got an owl, a wolf, and a snake, and I think the snake's on the forearm. The wolf, I think, is
On the leg, maybe?
On the yeah, where's-
Wolf's on the underside.
wolf's on the underside. The wolf is decent. We'll get a photo of
Wow.
that from Instagram.
Yeah, the
Yes.
wolf's
But
on the
the
underside,
owl-
the
Go on, Morgs,
snake's
you
on the
take us through
outside.
it,
The owl kind of takes up my whole chest, if you can see.
mate. Can you just jump up for us?
That's awesome.
We don't want the groin shot, so just be careful.
That's incredible.
That's mint, eh? Hey, how long did that take, Morgie?
I think it took 2 6-hour sessions.
Wow.
There's a rule of thumb too with tattoos, right? Like something. Well, this is I don't have a tattoo, so this is just what I've heard from friends who get tattoos. Like there is a rule that you cannot just have tattoos that are visible. You've got to have tattoos also that are in places that clothing covers. Therefore, you're a legit tattoo person. Because
That
the
seems
show
like a
ponies,
no, that
no,
seems-
the show ponies only get ones where you can see them, whereas legit tattoo people get ones like on the chest, like the big owl and stuff like that, where it is covered. So you're following the rules.
I feel like a neck
It's
tattoo
kinda
kind of
like
defies that rule, but I'm gonna back to Morgie. Yeah. So, what's your favorite, mate? The owl's the favorite, huh?
Yeah, the owl's probably my favorite, just because of how big it is. Really, like it was such a process to get it. Like I said, 2 6-hour sessions is no short feat. So the guy that did it, David Freeman, he works in Auckland at a company called Inkrush. I went to school with him. Spoonies, he might be around your age, to be fair.
Don't throw that out there, mate. We don't want to hear about that.
He played football for a bit. That's how I obviously met him when I was at Westlake at high school. And he went to the UK. He was like a real good artist. Went to the UK, was doing art galleries and art exhibitions over there, and then got into tattooing. Came back here, and I'd easily class him as one of the best in NZ. So he's done a lot of my big.
It
pieces,
is
like my
good,
chest,
mate. Yeah, it is very, very good. So he's done the owl. What else has he done?
So he did the owl, he did the wolf and the snake, and the bear on my calf. And then
Yeah, we won't get you to show
guy-
that. We had that off camera, and that did not go well.
That's an awkward angle to kind of show.
Do they tell
I'll
a
send it
story?
to-
Do you have a reason behind them? Like a lot of people will have, like, oh man, I got this because of this. For you, is there any story behind anything?
I think it's one of those things where I've always liked like the predator animals, you know, the kill or be killed kind of nature, you know, survival of the fittest sort of thing. So I have a lot of predators in that respect, like the bear, the snake, the eagle, all that sort of thing. But sometimes I wonder, like people say, you know, every tattoo means something, and some people are covered, and I don't know if they really have that much stuff happen in their life. You know, it's like I've got 20 plus tattoos, and to say that each of them, you know, significantly means something that represents something in my life would be a pretty hectic life.
Yeah, man. Well, look, you have had a pretty hectic life. So if we go back to it, as a 19-year-old, you set up Ricky Van Steeden for the $1 million goal in Abu Dhabi, which was a hell of a moment. One that I really remember because Ivan Vislic beat me to the pylon, which was an amazing feat because the man moves about 5 k's an hour. And then it took you a significantly long time, and maths isn't great, but you kicked your first ball as a professional at the age of 28, mate. That is some journey, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of one of those things where I guess I was just always around, really. Like, it started so long ago. You know, I was at Auckland City from 17, I guess. Jose brought me across to play a year of youth league, and then Paul Poser at the time was obviously the coach there, and it was kind of the same thing, like how I was playing, and you know, invited me to train with the first team. And then that very same year, we obviously went to Club World Cup in Abu Dhabi and that, and got fortunate enough, like you said, to get on the park, and something found my way. And of course, like I always say, I heard a voice and I passed it, and it was Ricky, the centre back, somehow playing number 10, and kind of thought,
why not?
This is going over the bar or something. Where's it going? I don't know. And then it's probably one of the best finishes I've seen in a very long time.
It's a beautiful finish, mate. It's a beautiful finish.
So speaking about the start of your career, mate, that was way back when you were a young fella at East Coast Bays. We actually played as teammates back then. You know, was Willie Goodson a major part of how you developed in your career? And I know part of that was that you were a dashing left winger at the time, hammering bucket loads of goals. Now you're a defender, which I don't think you were too happy with at the time. But who kind of had the most, I guess, impression on you as you were going through your football career?
Yeah, I think Willie definitely had a massive impression on my career, especially in those days, like we were saying at East Coast Bays, the early days. It was such a senior squad at the time as well. Even when you looked at, like, Jason McEwen was there, he's only a year older than me, but seemed like he'd been in that first team forever as well. So with the likes of with you and George Surrey, Lee Kenyon, all those sorts of boys that have been around for so long, it was obviously good to be part of a senior squad like that. But yeah, I think Willie had a real good impression on my career. Everyone says how angry he always seemed, but
yeah, mate, go on, give us your best goodie, because we've had them before. I think Sam Brotherton gave us one.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
He was pretty good. He gave us a Munstall.
Yeah, that's all I remember, because it was like when we were younger, or when I was younger and first started playing, I was on the bench a bit for part of the first season coming in, and I just remember him just having, I don't even remember the voices he'd say, I just remember him going through cigarettes like nobody's business.
And kicking over the chili bin, that was another one. The chili bin always got smashed.
And it was just like, I was in the dugout. I must have been a full-time smoker. The way I just remember thinking, this guy is on his third pack and it's not halftime, and we were up like 3-0 half the time.
Yeah, you probably got told to go on, and you're probably in fear that he was going to kick the crap out of you if you didn't do well when you got on. Hey, look, next question for you, mate, is I know as a professional, you're playing in South Africa's top league. Do you kind of sometimes feel that you're the forgotten man in New Zealand football? Like, a lot of these other guys are going to, say, second or third tier clubs in Scandinavia, and they get a lot of bells and whistles around it. You're playing in the top league in South Africa, but your name doesn't seem to get brought out as much. Do you feel a bit of angst around that?
Nah, like, I understand what you're saying, and I think it's kind of like I said before, like, I was just the guy that was always there, you know, whether I was playing in NZ or whatever it was. Like, it just seemed like I was just always around, really. Like I said, I left the professional game very, very late, but kind of, you guys know me as a person. I'm not really one to be phased about any of that sort of thing.
Not too fast, mate. Not too fast.
I just kind of take it as it comes, really. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, I just kind of wonder. But then I think, back when I was around that age, I guess the opportunities for us were very limited in terms of, looking at the All Whites, how young some of those boys are, how some of the boys that have got opportunities over the last few years. When I was 18, 19, there was Costa. That's about it.
Well, yeah, interesting story, mate. So you, for those of you who don't know, I've known Morgie since he was about, 5 or 6, mate. So he played in the same team as my brother, and that was a formidable team. It's got, to start off with, Ernest Wong, who is currently the kit manager at Wellington Phoenix, but it also had Jason Hicks. And you guys played in some of the most epic junior football battles I've seen against Costa. But you're right, mate. The opportunities for you are a little bit, they were leaner back in the day, but there is a position at the moment that is currently unoccupied in Wellington, and there's a left back spot. So hopefully there will be some opportunities that do come your way if you look to come back to New Zealand, mate. Hey, last question. We've all seen the, I don't have a word for it. It's piss taking that just undermines it. But the South African guys, the ones, they're playing on the dirt football fields, and sometimes it gets into the, let's get this right, the ABSA Premiership, when a team's up 2 or 3-0 and they start trying on all that sort of stuff. Have you come across that on the field, mate, where they're bringing in the dance moves? It's we'll get a video up, but it's very, very bizarre.
So there's a guy on my team. They call him Messi because he's like a bit of a dribbling wizard, to be fair. They love to use famous sportsmen for their favorite players, so to speak. A lot of players get called like that. But yeah, he's got a whole arsenal of tricks I have never seen in my life. And it's I'll find a video. I've got a video. I'll send it through so you can show it. But it's just like some of the it's stuff you don't even think about. Like I remember seeing it, and one of the first times I saw it, Rocky was actually at Maritzburg at the time, and I just like looked at him, and he just goes, "Mate, you haven't seen anything yet." And this was just a training. I was like, "Okay, sweet, it's fine." And then we played a game. I think we were up 2-0 at the time. Ball rolls out to Messi on the left, and he's got a bit of time about it, and all of a sudden some tricks start coming out. There's a little step over, the knees down on the ball. He's playing the air guitar.
And what's the crowd doing? What's happening with the crowd? Because that's
the crowd love it. The crowd absolutely love it. They can't get enough.
What's the other team doing? Because I can imagine the
I would go and kick the shit out of him.
Yeah, knees would be in trouble if Hyde was on the field.
That's what I say. I'm like, I said to Brock, I was like, if it ever happens to me, I'm just gonna cut someone in half. Like I wouldn't think twice about it, and it hasn't happened to me yet, which is probably safer for the guy who I'm playing. But I don't know. The South African boys are a bit standoffish because the thing is, it's like, to try and compare it, the boys here are like the same as the islands. So you got a lot of boys that just have unbelievable technique, quick feet, quick off the mark, athletically gifted. So it's like boys here are kind of tentative to rush in when they're doing some of those tricks for the fear of, if they get beat, the crowd's going to let you know.
Is it as bad as conceding a goal, Morgie? Is that what they kind of see it as?
It definitely can be, depending on where you're playing. Like, if one of the Chiefs boys do it, like the Kaiser Chiefs, you've got...
It's potentially a contract being ripped up, mate. That's
upwards of like 60,000 fans yelling at you.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I want to see the tackle where you rip somebody in half if they're trying that on you. But look...
Let's fly back to NZ.
Thanks so much for joining us here on the Full 90. We really do appreciate it. And please do send through that video, because we look to circulate it back here in New Zealand and give people a taste for what you're experiencing over there in South Africa. But mate, hey, All White squad potentially being named. We are absolutely all over you being involved in that and getting your opportunity to stake your case for that left back spot, potentially somewhere further up the field as well, maybe Heidi. But hey, mate, I just want to say thanks very much for coming on the Full 90. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Morgs.
Thanks for having me, boys. Look forward to catching up eventually when I get back in the country.
Absolutely. Enjoy that last 2 days of off-season, mate.
Thank you very much. Sounds good. We'll talk soon anyway.
8 days. 8 days for the off-season, mate. That is phenomenal.
Do you think he's got like a return to training, and you're going to do the body fat test, and he's got 8 days to... We probably had 4 days bender and then 4 days for the game. Exactly. I mean, you can't really get a mental break in, regardless of the physical condition that you've been able to maintain, mate. The mental break is
nominal at that point.
No, I totally agree. That's pretty rough back-to-back seasons. We used to do it, obviously, in New Zealand with the winter and summer leagues, and players fatigue, and they don't do it very often. But he raised a good point. You raised a good point about the All Whites. It's something we should consider because Morg has been overlooked for a while. So there's NFL drafts going on at the moment. There is the
correct.
fantasy football in the UK with the Premier League going on at the moment. So
That is
I
correct.
thought, how about with the possibility of the All Whites playing?
Oh, you're claiming this one, are you?
Well, yeah, I am saying this one. I freaking organised it. So yeah. So,
Well,
Belgium and possibly Mexico.
and
So-
then England has been rumoured as
It
well.
was a rumour as well. I mean, that's a
exactly.
pretty big
I
rumour.
mean, as an alternative, hopefully we get the Trans-Tasman bubble up and we can play some sort of game against Australia. And we can fill Eden Park, not looking to bring in any sponsors or anything like that. That's it.
Imagine
That's called, is it organic content, I think, Mark. That's what that is.
Imagine that.
Thank you, Eden Park. Hey, so, yeah, you're right, Hyde. If we were to do a draft of the All Whites team at the moment, and to be fair, it is very exciting looking at the player pool. Should we run through it as to who we can pick from?
Run through the player pool that I sent to you for the draft.
It's a joint venture here on the Full 90. Goalkeepers. Let's start off with the goalkeepers. So this is the players that we can select our All Whites teams from. And what Heidi and I are going to do is we're going to run through and have a bit of a draft in relation to building an 11 based off the current players that it's pretty much playing overseas, isn't it? Playing professional football.
Oh, they're all playing professional. That's the thing.
Exactly. It's wonderful. So
I'm in the midst of a fantasy football draft right now. So how are you guys going to do this? You're going to go who picks a goalkeeper first?
Well, no, we're just going to do player for player. We'll
Player
let you
for player.
build
Player
out.
for player.
Right. 'Cause
Okay,
we can build with football. You can build.
Who
a whole,
goes first? Who's got first overall?
Spooners, pick a number between 1 and 1,000.
12.
Wrong. I'll start.
Okay, there we go. Let's run through the player pool first, just to remind people who you can select from. So goalkeepers: Stefan Marinovic, Michael Vaud. Note that for next time. Michael Vaud, and then it doesn't get any easier. So you've got Zanev, who's currently playing in the UK. There's a T in there. You figure out where that is. Ollie Sale, who's on the bench for the Wellington Phoenix as well, rounds out the goalkeepers. So if we look at defenders, Michael Boxall, massive friend of the pod, Winston Reid, Tim Payne, Nando Paneka, Stefan Storm, Rue, Bill Tuoloma, Tommy Smith, Terafai Hudson Wihongi, Dan Morgan, who we just heard from, James McGarry, Noah Billingsley, and Dalton Wilkins.
I think you missed Libby Kakachi off that as well.
And Libby Kakache. Well, it probably wasn't done, but that's fine. So midfielders and forwards, we've got Joe Bell, Alex Arufa, Sarpreet Singh, Ryan Thomas, Gianni Stensness, Nico Kerwin. Must be weird for you hearing Kerwin and Stensness in the same conversation, but
It's
It's
like
like an old All Blacks team.
94 Auckland PC squad.
Costa Barbarousis, Alec Collier, Chris Wood, Max Mata, Clayton Lewis, Maya Bevan, Cam Howison, and hopefully he gets a speedy recovery, but Logan Rogerson as well. So we haven't included him in this particular draft. But those are the players that we're going to be picking from. Heidi won. He's going to be picking first. So I'll pass across to him, albeit begrudgingly.
Okay, so obviously I'm going to be picking the All Hides. That's going to be my team.
That's horrible.
Okay, you can go up with your team name later on, but then the All
I'm not.
Hides.
I think I'll leave that to Mark. I'm going to defer that across
That's
to
cool.
Mark.
So what we're looking for is we'll put our teams up. We'll pick them one at a time. But obviously those punters on our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter can obviously comment on whose team
Critique
would win.
away.
Because I would love to hear how much my team would beat Spoonley's. That's the way. So anyway, if I got first pick, I'm going with the massive Wood up top. Chris Wood.
Massive Wood.
Massive Wood up top.
Yeah,
gotta happen.
rumoured to go to Lazio, staying in Burnley by all accounts, but huge season for Chris Wood.
Number one pick has to be. Was it 14
Number one
goals?
overall pick.
Yeah, number one overall. Chris
Number
Wood.
one overall pick in the 2020 All Whites draft is Chris Wood. That kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit envious of it. If I'm looking at this now, though, you've got Chris Wood. I've got to go for Premier League experience. I've got to go for someone that can nullify Chris Wood if I'm coming against the All Hides, as it were. I'm torn here, Hyde. I want to go Boxy, but like it's a coin toss. He's been injured for a while, but I've got to go Winston Reid.
Yeah,
He's
fair
such a
enough.
leader, and I think more than that, he nullifies Chris Wood. So again, back to you.
I don't think he nullifies Chris Wood at all. But there you go. So I've gone all out attack. I can
You're
probably
cocky because you got another number one
Exactly.
overall pick.
Cool. Second pick for me, I'm going to look at a supply line for my massive Wood up top, and Sarpreet Singh will do that for me nicely in the kind
Oh,
of
wow.
attacking midfield role. So
Yeah.
I've skipped defence and goalkeeping at the moment. I'm going all out attack.
Mate,
That's good.
strategically, giving up the number 1 overall pick has not worked out for me, Mark.
No.
It's been frustrating.
I mean, I know both those names. Both names are very much in the headlines.
Heads on team high. There you
Well,
go.
he's doubled the names he knows on the list. Kerwin, Stensness, Singh, and Wood. So we're doing
I've
well.
also picked names he can pronounce. That's probably helpful.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to have to go for someone that we've had on the podcast and was a wonderful guest for us. He's going to be a little general. He's in the midfield. He can occupy a number of different positions, and I think that's going to be key as we work our way through this draft. And that is Ryan Thomas, the big gun from Te Puke. He gives me so much flexibility in their height. I love it. So I've got Reed and Thomas. I'm working back forward. I'm doing the opposite from you, mate. So this is going to be
football.
interesting.
It's really negative
Oh,
football,
don't
isn't
you?
it?
It is,
You
yeah.
stay out of this, mate.
Goalkeeper, so he wants to keep a clean sheet.
Right.
I'm going for a 5-4 win.
5-4.
You probably. I mean, Thomas would have been the next pick for sure. I'm going to try and go with a position here that I think I'll be able to trump you on. So I'm taking Libby Kakache at my left back. Therefore, I think he's head and shoulders above any other left back. So there you go. Libby Kakache in for my team. Pick 3.
That's so niggly. To be fair, having 4 at left back, I'm not too worried about the left back stock. So I've got Libby Kagache, Dan Morgan, James McGarry, and there was another that the name has slipped me on by, but that's fine. So yeah, you can have that one. I'm not actually, to be fair, I'm not too
Really?
fussed
You're not-
about that.
you're
I'm
not
not,
fussed about
yeah,
that?
like,
Kakache?
yeah, I get it. I
His
get it.
form for the A-League
I
and it's just
know.
gone. Okay.
He's a force of nature, mate. But we do have options at left back, so I don't know. That might not play out that well for you because you've left it vulnerable. I reckon he made a lot of noise recently, but Libby's obviously had the headlines in the immediate past. Joe Bell. I'm going Viking football here. He's the unsung hero. He's been up in Norway, sharpening the spear, as it were. He's going to be occupying that defensive midfield spot for me. So I've got my attacking options sorted. I've got the supply line.
Your attacking options.
Well, I've got Ryan Thomas.
You got one. You got
Got
one
Ryan
midfielder.
Thomas, mate. Yeah, I've got the spine sorted. We're good to go. We
You've
can
got
build
those
off
fine.
that.
You got no one up the top.
We are working forward, mate. I've got Reed,
right.
Thomas, Bell. Off you go.
All right. Well, that leaves me. I'll shore up my defence because I'm sitting there with the number 1 pick at Wood
Don't
and
you dare.
Singh.
Don't you dare. Do not do it.
Friend of the pod, Michael
No.
Boxer. Slot him to centre back for me, mate.
That hurts.
Heard that name too.
That hurt.
There you go. See,
That
I'm
really
looking
hurts.
good. Team Hyde is looking very, very good.
That
at this
hurts
stage.
quite a bit. Sorry, Box. I've got 4 rounds in, and you're going to be number 4. But yeah,
This will be one of those fantasy teams that everyone's owned that they just don't pay any attention to. The season just goes on and you never kind of look back at that team. You're like, oh, I hated that draft. That was the worst.
Well,
What was I thinking?
Yeah, we're seeing for Spinley. He's like, yeah, Boxer's my number 1 man. Yeah, but you didn't pick him.
Yeah, that's a good
You
point.
left him out
Strategically,
of your draft.
I left myself vulnerable there. That's a very good point. Yeah, you're right. Look, you've kind of given the game away there. So you said I haven't picked somebody that can score goals. So I reckon we go straight to it. 5 A-League championships. He's been on the podcast recently. I'm going to give you the props here, Mark. You can try and say his name properly. And let's not go for Costa. Let's make it the full version. Let's go full noise on this one, mate.
Oh, I remember Costa Barbarossa.
Oh,
Costa Barbarossa is not bad.
not bad.
It's not bad, yeah.
Good pick.
Wellington
Nice pick.
and St. Pat's own. So I've now got a goal-scoring threat in there. I'm working off a centralised spine here. I'm liking this. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Well, I'll take your Costa and I'll add in goal scoring on fire in the A-League with a better goals per game ratio than Costa and the ability to assist to fill in
For fuck's sake.
crosses onto Chris with his head. I'm going to take Maho Rojas.
What?
Rojas. I think there's maybe one too many Heinekens.
Marco, that's another dagger there. I was looking to link Thomas Barbarossa and Rojas up together. So that stings a little bit. That does sting a little bit. Look, I've got a formation in my head. I'm starting to work through it. We do have options up top, so I think you can kind of pick up the theme that Hyde and I are working through here, that we're going through the crown and the jewel of the All Whites at the moment, which is their attacking midfielders. And to be fair, we've got a number of them, so it's a pretty good spot to be in. You've taken Marco away though, which sucks. So I'm just looking through the list here. I've got to go Wellington to Denmark, mate. That's got to be the path I'm going to trod here. Callum McCowart, the best player to come out of Green Hive, Nick Hyde.
Ouch. That's ouch.
On the honours board up in Green Hive, it will not say Nick Hyde any longer. It will say Callum
No.
McCowart. And it will also say Callum McCowart in Jacob Spoonley's 2020 All Whites draft at round number 5. So I've got some attacking flair there. I'm quite happy with this. I mean, I lost out on the big man up top, but I've got the wave coming in behind it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I wanted to be able to put McCowart with the Kakachi on the left-hand side there.
Well,
so
yeah,
that's-
Des
that's-
Buckingham would be
that's-
very proud of you, mate.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
he speaks a lot about that combination.
Well, I'm looking. I've still got a lot of options with Singh, but I need someone in there doing a bit of the graft and a bit of the passing in my team. So last week's guest, Alex Rufer, slots into my midfield.
Oh, interesting. There is quite a
Yeah,
bit of talent left on the field, and
Yeah, well,
you've gone with Roofs.
Well, I mean, you took Bell. I need someone in there that's going to be able to play both sides of the, So there you go.
That's a good. I'm a little bit pissed off, to be honest. I did want to try and partner up Bell with Rufer, so that again, that's frustrating. We seem to be working kind of like one step in
I think we're both pissing each other off. Yes.
Yeah, it is quite annoying. So I'm looking through the formation here. I've got a couple of spots to fill. I could go a 3-2-4-1 here, Hyde. I could try and get a 4-3-3 in. I'm gonna need I'm gonna have to push someone up. That's what I'm working through at the moment. Someone's gonna have to occupy a more centralised role because Chris Wood would typically be the anchor that you'd work off here.
Just pick a player, man. Look at all you do. Come on.
He's a ditherer.
He's a ditherer.
I'm a thinker. I've got 5 years of law school.
You'd
to
like
back
to
that
think
up.
you'd like to think you're a thinker. My team's going to kick your ass.
I've got 2 degrees up on the wall at home. I'm going to go Elijah Just. I've locked him in.
Elijah
Is this how you
Just.
operate in your fantasy?
Yeah,
Alright,
push.
bang.
You got to push. You got to push the person.
It's usually a 30
if it's not
second.
your pick.
It's usually a 30-second
Yeah.
window, isn't
What are
it?
you talking about?
Otherwise, you get default worst
No.
player.
There's only one person who cares about your pick, and it's you.
Exactly.
No one
Exactly.
else does, so they move on through.
That's my point.
Everyone's waiting just to see the list. You
That's
can't
my
win.
point.
So who's Just? Who's Elijah Just? What's
Elijah
his story?
Just is at FC Helsingborg with Callum McCowart. So him,
Right.
Dalton Wilkins, and Callum McCowart make up the trio.
So there's some synergy there.
There is synergy, and he actually played a very, very important role in the All Whites.
And I'm
Good
busy,
45 minutes against Ireland.
I am busy making up the graphics for this. So Just Just.
Just.
There we go.
It's this French accent again.
Right,
Doesn't
your
mean
pick
it.
height.
Yeah, good. So I got
Bon
the
Jovi.
spine. I got Wood. I got Singh in midfield. I got Boxers in the back, and so Marinovic comes in as goal. There you go.
You've gone for a goalkeeper early on.
Yeah, of course I have. It's a key position. Marinovic. Wood,
I might
Singh,
be
Boxall, Marinovic.
dishonouring the GKU here, but that could be drafting a punter quite early on. Mate.
Yet to be decided. I've got to see these two teams.
I'd
Mate, that's
think
going to come back to hit me more than it would you.
No, I think it's more about the field goals than the punting.
The
There you go.
Okay, so I'm looking. I reckon centre back here, Hyde. You've taken Boxy off me. I've waited long enough, though. I'm going to go Nando Pinica. And I hope I'm saying that right. There might be some touch. Michael Vowd's going to be honest about the pronunciation there. But Nando, I reckon partnering him up with Winston and his left foot. Having a left foot centre back is always going to bring you.
You're going with the young fella.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Well, I'm not. I'm going to
Sign
go.
for Rio Ave.
I'm going to go with the traditional but tried and trusted MLS player Bill Tuilima. Gives me a couple of options, possibly at centre back, possibly at DM. So
Yeah, you're killing my DMs here, mate.
big Bill comes in.
I'm running short of defensive midfield here, Mark. That's a problem for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't act like you know what their position
I've got
is.
no idea what you're saying. I'm still trying to think how to spell that last name you said.
Yeah, make sure you get all of Barbarousas in
Tui.
there, mate. Tuilima.
Loma.
Yeah, the Birkenhead United superstar. I reckon this is someone that we're going to have on the pod soon, Hyde. This is where I'm going with this. A man who played a wonderful role for the Wellington Phoenix. He's been in and around New Zealand football for a long time. Played right back. Did play in the midfield for a long time, but I'm going to go Tim Payne. I'm going to
You
pull him out
picked
there.
a right back. You still haven't got a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm
you
okay with
claim to
that.
be the GKU. You haven't got a goalkeeper.
Yeah, no, but it's strategic thinking, mate.
Okay, you leave it wide open for me. I'll take another centre back. I'm going with Tommy Smith. Slots in at centre back. Bill goes to DM. There you go.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
I'm solid.
That's interesting.
I'm solid. You're going to score any goals, and I've
That's
got Chris Wood up
interesting.
top.
So Tommy Smith at the back. Okay. What have we got at defence midfield? All right. Here you go, Mark. Here's a name for you. He hasn't really featured that much, but I think he's going to be in and around it. Oh, Matt Redenton. We should probably include him as well.
Are you going to pick him?
I'm not going to pick him, but I'm going to...
It's wasting time, mate. You pick.
Gianni Stensness, mate. There we go.
There we go. I can spell
There
that.
we go. GG. Love it.
All right, I'm still missing an attacking player, so I'm going with Max Mata up top.
Well, Max Mata.
How did Mata get free for this length of time? Jeez.
There you
Well, I
go.
thought he was very early off the board.
Estonian goal scoring whiz.
There we
Yeah,
go.
you like the big lads up front, don't you?
No, he's
Interesting.
got good feet.
Good for, yeah, I know that, but he's still a physical
Well, if
presence.
Rojas is crossing the ball, and I've got Wood and him in the
Yeah,
middle of the box.
don't talk about Marco, mate. I'm still dirty on that. That's not okay behaviour. I'm not going to pick a left back because you've gone early in on that position. Obviously taking Livy. I'm going to go goalkeeper now. Not like you're ever going to pick a second goalkeeper, so we're pretty safe in that regard. Michael Vowd.
Cool, and that leaves me with a right back to pick, which I think Kellen Elliott would be fantastic in there after his
Interesting.
awesome performances for the Wellington Phoenix lately. So that's my squad all done. I'm sure Mark will put it up on the screen shortly.
Oh, there you go. Happy days. Yeah, you still got to wait for me though, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it matters. I think people
I'm
will
10
see,
players
people will see my team and go,
All right, here we go. Morgie, you'll be listening to this, mate. Make sure you understand and appreciate who loves you. You're coming in with me, and you're the punctuation point to round out my 11 for the All Whites.
Morgan.
So Dan Morgan. Mark,
Nice.
as he makes his way through that, we will be talking through. Hyde.
The
Bench-
White Spoons.
What?
The White Spoons. The name that I've come up with.
It's brilliant. Suits you perfectly. Go to a tea.
Ready
Did
for your
Napoleon
teams?
Dynamite just come into the studio? What the? What's happening there?
Oh,
Oh,
there
there we
you
go.
go.
On
Go the
screen.
All Hides.
All Hides and White Spoons. I'm not happy about that at all. Interesting.
So,
So you've gone for a 4-2-3-1.
yeah, pretty much. Although Rufer can play anywhere in the midfield, depending on whether we're attacking or defending. So, on that, though, I think my team beats your team. I'd love to hear what people have to say. But it does raise a very big point here. How many great players do we now have to pick from? Because we've done podcasts here where we've spoken to Kiwis who have gone to play very solid teams like France and Brazil, and we've had part-timers.
Yes.
Find the part-timer.
2010 World Cup, there were a couple of part-timers
Find
there.
the part-timer.
It's brilliant, mate, to be fair.
We've just named two
I know.
all teams.
Well, and let's explain it. So you've gone for a 4-2-3-1, mate. You're going to basically base everything off Chris Wood up front, and then you're going to have the whippets and the nimble players in behind the likes of
Well, I think
Sarford, Singh, and
if you look
Marco
at I've got a solid kind of goalkeeper and centre back combination. I've got Kakachi and Elliott as my fullbacks going forward, who both have shown in the A-League they've got the gas to do it. Both young players. I've got a DM in Tuiloma that knows the position well. Played at Marseille originally, now in MLS. I've got Rufer, who
Under
we
Marco
mentioned.
Bielsa, it's got to be said as well.
Yep, I've got Sarpreet Singh, who's a star in waiting, running the AM, and I've got Mata and Rojas either side of the big star, Chris Wood.
And there's a massive
See how
massive
big-
forward.
how big Wood is.
Well, okay, so appreciate that and respect that formation from you, Hyde. What I would say is my 4-4-2 is going to be replicating what the Phoenix have done. And I think we've got the players to do this. I've used the 3-2-4-1 in the past. I really want to overload that midfield. The technical operators that we've got in there are wonderful. So the likes of Ryan Thomas and Elijah Just. And then Joe Bell really anchoring that midfield for me. So in possession, we're going to go to a 4-2-2-2. And that will allow us to get the likes of Tim Payne and Dan Morgan down those flanks, attacking fullbacks, overloading teams and getting balls into the box. We don't have Big Timber in there, but we've got some very astute operators, and we've got some guys who know how to find the back of the net in Callum McCow and Costa Barbarousa. So there's a couple of niggles in there, but I'm pretty happy about that.
Good. Let's see what the brothers say.
Yeah, get it at us, guys. We would love to hear what you'd like to know, or basically
What was that?
get it at us. We'd like you to give us our feedback on the teams.
I like the White Spoons, just the name, but I think the All
Who
Hides
you
win
came
that.
up with?
Yes! I have one vote already.